every other autocratic country claims to offer the same freedoms we do in our Constitution. Well, what's different about Iran and China and the U.S. Constitution? It isn't all the other amendments. It's the Second Amendment.
What I think is kind of neat about the way you've done things is I mirror it in a much smaller degree, which is like, because I think we both view it as kind of like service.
Yeah.
It's like it's what we think matters.
Very much so.
Because like you succeeded. I think it was bio.
Biotech was my first, and then I had an anti-ESG asset management firm that fought against BlackRock and others and built a competitor there, and so.
Yeah, and people have no idea, like just the monstrosity that is BlackRock.
Yeah, they really don't. We can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's basically behind everything that you think is evil in the the BlackRock funds.
It's pretty close. Pretty darn close. Yeah, because they control the largest amount of capital in the world. So.
Yeah, they also funded my competitor too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they donated. I think it was like $30,000 or something like that. But they
got enough in your Republican competitor.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds about right. Well, there's a version of this in this presidential race too. But
yeah,
it's like the modern Dutch East India Company. Effectively, it's like the largest company in human history.
It's an interesting way of putting it. Yeah,
it really is. Right. It's kind of a quasi climate change. Here's how we're going to do it. Racial justice. How we're going to do it. Gun. Control related issues and what we're going to lend to and not. Gun manufacturers can't get lending, higher cost of capital, put them out of business, whatever it is.
Yep. Just kind of force them out.
Yeah.
That's one of the more interesting things about the way that like you kind of like, I know how everybody says like you're an overnight success because they don't see all the work you put in on the back end, but you really did kind of, in a lot of people's perspective, come out of nowhere. Yeah. And like just the last few weeks, you've blown up.
I mean, that is reality. People said I was polling at zero. Somebody said, were you polling at 0% in March? I said, no. I was polling at 0.0%.
Oh, God.
In March.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is people in this country are responsive to a powerful message. It's the advice I would give you is don't fall into the trap of saying what you think people want to hear.
Right.
Or certainly the deeper trap of what your donors or lobbyists tell you to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy for you to say now.
Yeah, right.
I will tell you there are points in even my own nascent 5-month in, 6-month in campaign. I've lost major donors or potential donors over. They
start twisting the arm.
Yeah, I mean, and I stopped playing that game. I mean, thankfully, I've lived the American dream, so I've been in a position to put in $15 million of my hard-earned money.
Yeah,
avoid asking other people for permission to run. I'd rather lose it by speaking the truth
and not lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I think a lot of, like, the way we kind of mirror each other a little bit. Again, you're like on way higher on that scale than me, but like we both independently succeeded. And it's like, man, this is our way of not giving back, but it's like, okay, now that I'm comfortable, this is what I think is important, so let's go for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? There's like a personal level of it. Life's too short to be playing that game.
Yeah.
And then there's a version of it for the country. Our government was built on the idea, our country was built on the idea.
Yeah.
The government is accountable to the people, not the other way around. To tell the truth to the people. We, the people, can handle the truth.
100%.
Right, so government today says, we can't tell them about the Nashville Shooter Manifesto because the people can't handle the truth.
Right.
It's like that, Jack Nicholson scene at the end of A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. No, I say we, the people, we can handle the truth. And that's, I think, what the whole moment is about.
Especially when it's politically motivated in a way like that.
It is.
Where it's,
I mean, you think about the bad effect that has on policy. I know you're, a 2A guy. Bill Lee, the Republican, speaking to somebody who is challenging a Republican incumbent in a primary, which is, by the way, a bold thing to do, and I applaud you for it.
We'll see if it ruins my life or not.
Well, it only ruins your life if it lets you ruin your life. That's your choice.
Yeah.
Right? I think some hardship is something that happens to you. Victimhood or embarrassment or anything else, that's a choice.
Yeah.
Actually. So you don't have to make that choice. But in that same spirit, you take a governor like Bill Lee in Tennessee. He's convening, like in the next couple of days, a special session of the legislature in Tennessee to pass a red flag law when he still has not released the manifesto of that transgender shooter because it was a transgender shooter of his Christian school. That's a politicized situation. They will not let the public see that.
Right.
Because they believe the public can't handle the truth. We can handle the truth.
Especially when politicians like that try to make it about, again, like the easy issues, like the gun issue, the red flag stuff, like the stuff that's like super easy to pass to the soccer moms. Like, oh yeah, obviously it was a gun that was used, let's handle the guns. Like, no, maybe let's take a look at the issues that make somebody so nihilistic that they feel like they need to take human life.
Totally.
And then like, let's work our way forward from there, not work our way back.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the reality is It's easy to make a virtue signaling solution. It's hard to get to the root cause of a problem.
Right, and it's the same thing politicians have been doing for years, where it's like it's not about actually solving the problem. It's about putting enough of a Band-Aid on it to make it look like I solved the problem until I get reelected and kick the can down the line.
Totally, and that's actually a lot of where the utility of wokeism comes from.
Yeah.
You blow woke smoke to deflect accountability for your own failure.
Yeah.
If your public school call math racist, a lot easier than teaching a bunch of black kids how to do math in the inner city.
Yeah, and you don't solve the problem.
You're worsening the problem.
Yeah.
Make them stay at home under lockdown conditions for a year when kids who go to private schools actually went right back to school.
Yeah, no, I believe it 100%. Now, on the topic of like red flag laws and stuff like that, I haven't really heard you delve too much into your position on the Second Amendment in general.
Yeah.
Like I know you said you're obviously pro-gun and you're pro-Second Amendment, but are you like full stop, no new gun laws? Like hard line on that? Is that your stance?
I'm a Second Amendment hardliner.
Okay, good.
And the reason why is like I was talking to Coleon about this a little bit ago, is the reason I'm not is not because I'm some like avid hunter. I'm not.
Right.
Like I never pretend to be something I'm not. I have other hobbies.
Right.
I had a fun time at the range today, but that's not what I do on most of my weekends. Nowadays it's going to campaign stops, but even otherwise it was playing out.
Sounds super fun too.
Yeah, it is if you make it fun.
Right.
But the reason why is it is the amendment that puts the teeth into all of the others.
Yes.
Without the Second Amendment, we have none left. Every other autocratic country claims to offer the same freedoms we do in our Constitution. Well, what's different about Iran and China and the U.S. Constitution? It isn't all the other amendments. It's the Second Amendment.
Because hunting is cool, self-defense is great. Everybody obviously has the natural right to defend themselves, but that wasn't why.
At bay.
Yes.
This is what this is about. This is about saying, you, the government, you stay in your lane, and I'll stay in mine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Magnetic repulsion is what this is actually about.
Yeah, I can't remember who the comedian was, but it was something along the lines of, we should, the First Amendment was we should let people be able to speak their minds, speak freely. Shit, we should probably make sure that they have guns if they're going to do that. It's probably a good idea.
But like, there's some jokes that are funny because they're ridiculous. That joke's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not about some sort of hobbyist interest that we're protecting or special interest that we're protecting. No.
Yeah.
Every American is safer. Taiwan will be safer if they have a Second Amendment.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the easiest way to get China from not invading Taiwan. Put a gun in every household, train them how to use it safely. That will keep China at bay. It keeps any autocracy at bay. It keeps autocracy at bay in this country. And it might just be that last stand that helps us preserve this republic.
Because anytime you don't have individuals with firearms, you're outsourcing that responsibility for self-protection to somebody else. Whether it be the state government, the federal government, whoever, you're just kicking the can down the line to a bigger group of people.
If the government didn't have firearms, I think like under what conditions might we not need a Second Amendment? If the government literally had no firearms, fine.
If no government on the earth had firearms, then
exactly. But that I'm almost using that to sort of point out.
Absolutely.
That's what this is about.
Yeah.
And that's also why, you hear the argument that sometimes, automatic weapons didn't exist in 1776, and so the Second Amendment couldn't have included them. It's actually the other way around. Automatic weapons didn't exist. Muskets did, and that's why individual citizens own the right to own muskets, held the right to own muskets. Well, if the government holds automatic weapons, so it goes today. That's what the Second Amendment is.
And the president likes to forget the fact. He talks about, no, you couldn't own a cannon. You could never own a cannon. You've always been able to own a cannon. You're talking about the Second Amendment was written in a time when you had privately owned warships that the government would contract. Like, hey, man, can I borrow your crew of mercenaries and your 83 guns and your heavy naval artillery?
That was exactly how it worked. And it's worth teaching that history.
Yes. I think that's why your messaging is working really well, too, because I really do have to give you credit. Your media messaging, especially in the last couple of weeks, has been fantastic. Like you're running the campaign. Me as like a guy coming from a bit of an internet marketing background.
Yeah.
It's been very impressive to see the way that you're running your operation, and I wish you all the best for the success on that, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We're just getting warmed up.
Yeah, appreciate it. I will continue to watch your career with great interest.
Likewise, tears, man. I'm excited to watch you had the courage to make a run. You don't have to be doing this. Just follow your purpose and see it through. That's my advice to you.
Well, if things work out, I guess we'll be working together.
We'll be colleagues, one way or another, right? I mean, there's many ways to drive change in this culture. It's not all going to be from the government.
Absolutely.
But
it's usually better when it's not.
Yeah, but we'll each. I don't relish being in the White House for the rest of my life. I'll do it for 2 terms. Maybe you'll do the same. But let's get in there and do our minimum of 100%. Service to the country.
Well, brother, I appreciate you spending the time, man.
Good to see you, man.
It's been good.
Thank you, man.
Good talk.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you.